Hey guys, something just happened to me and I'm kind of freaking out about it. I don't really know if I should be telling you guys this or not, but I'm gonna anyways. And I don't really believe in this stuff and I don't believe in ghosts, but I'm gonna tell you a story about the worst house I've ever been in. So, we always talk about all the nice houses that we go in and all the great houses that we've seen, but there's some really scary ones too. So I didn't really think about it until later tonight and something happened, but I went in this house about 2 years ago, and I got a request from a bank to go look at a property, and I didn't know where it was. I'd never heard of it, and I'd never heard of the bank before. It was like some really weird name. I can't remember what the name was, but it wasn't like a normal bank. And anyways, I didn't think about it then. It's just weird. But I got a request to go look at a property, so I drove out, and it was a summer day, a clear summer day, and I drove out and left town at about must have been around supper time, like 6 p.m. and took about an hour to get there. I had to follow Google Maps, and Google Maps actually, it's weird. I got lost at first, and I couldn't find the property, and I sat on the side of the road trying to find out where it was, and finally I pulled up and I found this house. But I got there, and I got there about like 7 o'clock at night, and the weather had changed really, really dramatically, and I was far out from the city, and it was like super, super foggy and misty, and like a really, really dark day, I guess, even though it was nice when I left. But anyways, I pulled up to the property, and I noticed that the outside was just really worn down and derelict, and there was garbage everywhere, and the lawn hadn't been cut in forever, and there was just stuff everywhere all around it. And so I pulled up, and I could kind of feel something. I feel like an idiot telling you guys this, but I could just feel something wasn't right. But I was just new in the business, and I didn't really know what I was doing, and I was desperate for business, so I went in anyways. And when you get a bank repo, they usually send a request for a bunch of information, so they'll give you like 10 pages to fill out, and will ask, every questions from how many windows there are, and they have like a really, really specific detailed list. So I had the list with me, and I started going around the property and checking off the things on the list, and I noticed that like the siding was falling off, and looked like animals had been all around and ripped up the garbage all through the place. And I noticed that every single window was broken. It was like somebody took a rock and threw it at every single window. It was just really, really, really bad. So anyways, I decided to go in, obviously. Didn't really think of anything, but just went in, and there was garbage piled up at the front door, and I had to kick the garbage out of the way to get in the door, and just disgusting. But went in, opened the door, and when I opened the door, I looked inside, and there was just furniture everywhere. Furniture, and like when I say furniture, I just mean like excess amounts of furniture. Opened the door into the living room, and the ceiling was all caved in. All the drywall had been kicked in and ripped down. Every single electrical outlet was pulled out. There was just way too much furniture in there is all I can say. Just way, way, way too much. But, I was walking through and closed the door behind me. When I closed the door behind me, I noticed that there was a guy outside walking around with a flashlight. And he was pretty far away, and he was just walking around, and I kind of thought that it was weird because there were no other houses around or anything like that. It's just some guy walking around, but not really a big deal. So I just kept going through the house, and I was stepping over, cracked drywall, and there was a fireplace there, a brick fireplace that had been completely torn down. The bricks were everywhere. And started to go through the house and was walking over garbage in the house. And the house just had like a really weird energy. And like all the rooms felt small because there was so much stuff in there. And all the halls were really, really narrow. And like I'm a pretty big guy, so I could feel like when I'm walking through the halls, I could feel my shoulders almost rubbing up against the halls because they were so narrow. And I left the living room and started to go towards where I thought the bedrooms would be. And I noticed in the middle of the floor there was this red like bed sheet in the middle of the floor, and it kind of stood out because there was so much garbage all over the place and everything was just spread around and crazy, and there was this perfect folded up red sheet in the middle of the floor. So I picked it up, and underneath the red sheet there was a perfectly cut hole in the floor leading down to the basement, like someone had booby trapped it. And so they cut a hole in the middle of the floor and laid a sheet on top of it so that if you walked over top of it, you'd fall through. So there was a board that I took, and I just put it over, and I kept going through the house to the bedrooms. But that kind of, at this point, I'm just kind of getting freaked out because I was wondering if the rest of the house was like booby trapped or what was going on. And like whoever was there before was really, really mad and did a lot of damage to the property. So I kept going on, and I went into the first bedroom that was like on the back side of the house. And there's just mattresses lying everywhere, and dresser with the drawers open and clothes hanging out. And I looked at the window, and I saw that guy with the flashlight out there again, and this time he was closer to the house. And I was like, what's going on, man? Like, why are you doing that? But anyways, I'm a pretty big guy, so I wasn't really too scared. But I just noticed that he was walking around with his flashlight outside of the house. So kept going on and went into the second bedroom, and same thing. It was on the other side of the house. Just mattress, no sheets on it, spread out everywhere, dressers, dolls lying around. Went through that, and at this point I heard the back door close, the door that I'd come in. I heard it shut. And like when I go into a house, I always give like a big hello, is anyone there? Just to see if anyone's there. So I did it again. I said hello, and I listened to hear if anyone was in the house, and nobody responded. So I listened for footsteps and couldn't hear anything. So I just figured maybe I just didn't close the door behind me. So anyways, I kept going through the house, and went into the third bedroom, the master bedroom, on the back side of the house again. And it was like a really, really awkward way to get in, and the way that the door was, it was really, really, like the door almost opened into the closet, into like a pushed out closet. So it was really, really awkward to get in. So, and there was garbage everywhere, so I had to really push the door open. And I pushed the door open and went in, and same thing, just stuff everywhere. And I closed the door. I was in the room and I closed the door behind me, and behind the door I saw this poster of Ash from The Evil Dead. So if you've ever seen The Evil Dead, it was the scary movie from the 80s, I think, where this guy goes out into a cabin with his friends and all these demons come in, start killing everybody. So I see this picture of Ash with a chainsaw, and I started freaking out. I was like, man, this is weird. So at this point, I'm just keep going through my checklist. I'm going through my checklist, and feeling uncomfortable, and I'm just filling it out. I'm just trying to get out of here. So I go back through the halls, I step over that hole, and I go back to the back door where the basement door was as well. And I went down into the basement, and none of the lights were working down there. None of the power was working, so I just went down, and it was really dark down there. I just came to the foot of the stairs, and like the basement was all studded in, had all the studs in, and some drywall, and I could hear breathing. And then all of a sudden, behind some of the put up drywall, I could see a flashlight shining from behind it. So I got panicked. I got out of there, and I ran up the stairs and ran out the door. And I don't even know why, but I locked the door. I grabbed the key and I locked the door. I don't even know what I was thinking. I locked the door and got in my car and sped away, and I never called the bank back. I was just like, screw this, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with this property. I don't want to list this property. I don't ever want to go there again. Never even called the bank back. And just never responded to them. And I forgot about it until tonight. I was just on my phone, and I was going through my Google Drive and through my old pictures, and on my saved pictures, I found some pictures of the house, and now there's a guy outside of my window walking around with a flashlight.